It is that time of the month. It is time to pick my monthly TBR using my TBR jar. Hello my friends and welcome to my little bookish corner of the internet. Believe it or not, it is already time to choose our May TBR, and as much as it freaks me out that this year has been flying by so quickly, I absolutely love this time of the month. It is honestly my favorite thing to do, to pick my TBR with my jar. So yeah, thank you for joining me on this ride. Before we jump into it, a quick update on my progress with my April TBR. I am sorry to say I did not do so well with my April TBR. I did so well in March. I finished all the books on my TBR, but last month I was just not in the mood for some of these books on my TBR, which is so weird because in the beginning of the month I was very much in the mood for them. So it just goes to show how quickly your mood can change. But yeah, it is the 25th of April today, and I know I'm not gonna get to the other 3 books on my TBR. But hopefully this month will be better. We are still going to be picking 6 books for our May TBR. If you don't know the drill by now, we are going to be using this prompt jar. I'm going to be picking a random prompt and that will help me choose a book from my TBR. Let's choose my first prompt. Give it a good mix. Okay, let's see what this one is. And we have most recently added. This is one of the best prompts you can get. I have some very recently added books that I'm very excited to get to. So let's pull some options. I have so many good options. It's actually overwhelming because I want to read all of these options that I pulled, but I do have a bit of a side quest that I'm working on in my reading, and that is trying to continue the series that I'm in the middle of. I am in a lot of them, and I should probably make the responsible decision to rather continue series as opposed to starting new series. So as much as it pains me to put these away, let's be responsible. Okay, my 2 options are then Emily Wilde's Map of the Other Lands, which is the 2nd book in the Emily Wilde series, and Killer Instinct, which is the 2nd book in the Natural series. I really want to read both of these. Emily Wilde's Map of the Other Lands is highly anticipated for me because I really loved the first book. Another reason is that the South African weather at the moment is totally feeding into the vibes of these books. If this continues to be those wintry vibes that the first book was. If you don't know, in this Emily Wilde series, we do follow Emily, who is an academic studying fairies in this world, and she is joined by actually her academic rival, Wendell, and they just go on this journey exploring fairies. It is so wholesome, it is so cute. I absolutely loved the first book. But that being said, I want to take this opportunity to get this book onto my TBR. This has been calling out to me since I bought it. Actually, since I remembered that I was in the middle of the Natural series. And it is also something quite light and easy to read, just in case I have some heavy books on my TBR. Because I noticed with my previous TBR, I didn't really have a lot of light kind of palette cleanser books on my TBR, which left me not feeling in the mood for some of the more heavy books. This is a YA mystery thriller series, and in the first book we follow like a group of teenagers that have special gifts or abilities, and that enables them to help solve cold cases. So I'm really in the mood for this. So I think I'm officially going to be adding Killer Instinct as my first book on my May TBR. Right, let's choose the 2nd prompt. So far, this TBR jar has been nothing but great to me. I am really loving the prompts that I chose. I'm gonna have to fill it up at some point, but for now, I am so happy with this jar. Let's hope this isn't a bad prompt. Okay, this is, oh, I can see from the reflection, a romance. Oh, I'm not in a romance mood. Oh my goodness. But we're gonna do it. We are gonna do it. I don't even know if I have like a romance on my TBR, but let's see. Okay, I only have 2 books that strictly fall into the romance only category. So as much as I kind of want to bend the rules and pick a romantasy as a romance, I need to stick with the prompts. So the first option we have is Happy Place by Emily Henry. Guys, dare I say it, I actually started reading this book. I was really excited when I bought this because obviously Emily Henry is a very much hyped up author and her books are apparently incredible. I've never read an Emily Henry. I started reading this one. As you can see, my bookmark is still there. And I don't know, like it really didn't pull me. It didn't speak to me and I soft DNF'd it. Like, I don't know how many pages in. 44 pages in, and it didn't hook me. So I don't know what's happening with my relationship with Emily Henry, but at this point I don't really feel like picking up this book. I am so sad though, because I know she is very much well loved by the reader community. So I'm hoping that this block I have against her books will pass. But I'm actually really excited for the other option that I have, and that is Sounds Like Love by Ashley Poston. I loved The 7-Year Slip. It was one of my favorite romances that I've read so far. Ashley Poston's romance books always have that magical realism element, and I'm very excited for this one because it has to do with music, and as someone that loves music and has been involved with music my entire life, I am so excited to see what this one holds. I haven't been seeing that much about this book recently. I think some of her other books have been more popular, but I am really excited for this one. So needless to say, I think I'm rather gonna choose Sounds Like Love to be my second book on the May TBR. Okay, third prompt. I say this literally every time, but I absolutely love doing this. I honestly, if I could film like 4 TBR jar chooses my reads in a month, I probably would. It's my favorite. I love it. Let's see. I'm trying not to peek. A modern classic. I sometimes question myself with the prompts I chose because do I even have a modern classic on my TBR? Let's see. Okay, so I do have 2 Jane Austen books on my TBR, but I believe Jane Austen is like full on classics. So the 2 options that I do have is 1984 by George Orwell and Dracula by Bram Stoker. But I'm quickly gonna have to Google to find out if one of these 2 are even modern classics and not just like classics. Let's see. Ooh, okay, so Google says yes, George Orwell's 1984 is widely regarded as a modern classic. It was published in 1949. So I guess Google agrees that it is a modern classic, so that is an option. Let's check Dracula. Okay, so Dracula is not a modern classic. I think it's more a full-on classic because it was published in 1897. I'm not exactly sure how the classifications work, but according to Google, the one that is our winner is 1984 by George Orwell. I just checked on Google. It says it is a dystopian book. I actually have no idea what this is about. I've just heard that it's very thought-provoking. It makes you think about life, which is something about books that I really enjoy. Let's see. I don't want to read the full blurb, but there is a little part here that says 1984 is George Orwell's terrifying vision of a totalitarian future in which everything and everyone is slave to a tyrannical regime. Okay, this sounds interesting. I don't think I've ever read anything like this. So yeah, the third book on my TBR is going to be 1984. Okay, let's choose the 4th prompt. We are getting through this very, very quickly this month. The one thing that I am a bit worried about is that I don't see any fantasy on this TBR so far, which will not do. So the goal for the next 3 prompts will be to get fantasy on the TBR. Please give me something that will be appropriate for a fantasy book. Let's see. Let's see. Please be a fantasy. a book from the 2010s. Okay, yay. I know exactly why I put this prompt in the jar. So as someone that fell off the reading wagon as a teen, I was not a teen in 2010. Yes, I was. Anyway, I fell completely off the reading wagon as a teen, and I missed that whole 2010s amazing romantasy and fantasy and dystopian era. So let's see what I have available. So obviously I have a lot of those quintessential 2010 fantasy and dystopian books on my mental TBR, like Hunger Games, Divergent, the Cassandra Clare books, but I don't have any of those on my actual physical TBR. And I think the only book that is going to really work for this quintessential 2010s vibes that I was going for with this prompt is The Kiss of Deception by Marie E. Pearson. This is a romantasy series, which, whew, yay, I've got some fantasy on the TBR, and I've been wanting to read this book for so long because last year for my birthday, I think, so a full on more than a year ago, I bought the Dance of Thieves and Vow of Thieves duology by her, not knowing that I was actually supposed to read this trilogy. I think this is a trilogy before those books. So I've been wanting to read this book for so long, and you would have seen that it did pop up when we were doing the recently added prompt, because this has been so tricky to get a hold of. Getting a hold of the physical copy of this book has taken forever, and I actually didn't really want this cover. I wanted the other covers, the more purpley covers, but I'm really excited to get into this. I've heard that it's very good, especially Freya has been going on about this series and how amazing it is. I think it's called The Remnant Chronicles, and I believe in this book we follow a princess, Princess Leia, and she kind of flees her duties as a princess, and then she ends up in this situation where she is tangled up with the assassin that's trying to kill her and the prince that she's meant to marry, and it sounds really exciting and fast-paced and fun. So I'm excited to add this as the fourth book on my May TBR. Okay, this TBR is coming together so nicely. Let's choose the fifth prompt, and hopefully I can get something else that is also fantasy, because I want a lot of fantasy on my TBR. Okay, let's see there. Okay. Okay, a high fantasy. Yes, this is what we need. Okay, we have two options that are really calling out to me. The first being The Raven Scholar by Antonia Hodgson. I have heard amazing things about this series. In this high fantasy book, we are set in a world where the world is divided into different factions, I believe, and then each faction is classified by an animal, and people that are in that faction will have similar traits to that animal. So the fox people will probably be very cunning and sly, and the ravens will probably be more scholarly, as we can deduct from the title. So this has been calling to me for a very long time. I am very interested to get into this book. The only problem is that it is starting another series. This is book one of, I don't know how long the series is going to be, but I am on a mission, as I said, to try and get through the series I am already in. And the other option that is really calling to me will be the second book to this series, The Songs of Chaos. I will share more of my thoughts about this book in my monthly wrap-up coming up, I think, next week. But this is a Dragon Rider high fantasy, and I loved it. I am really excited to get to the second book. I don't have it physically, which means I will probably need to procure the second book in the series, but I'm not complaining about that. I am excited to get to the second book in the series. This will be book number 5 on the May TBR. The TBR is coming together. We have thriller, romance, dystopian, romantasy, and high fantasy. How balanced is that? Let's hope that the last prompt will continue to take us on this fantasy path. Please be something fantasy. I'm nervous. Trying not to peek. Can you see there? Yeah. Okay. Magnus chooses a book. This is exciting. Magnus is my husband and he is going to love this prompt. He really likes choosing books for me and he loves choosing books that I am not in the mood for. So I'm going to twist this prompt slightly. I'm going to pull options for him and he will choose from those options. Okay, I've bombarded Magnus, so he's not going to be in the video. Explanation. I already have Songs of Chaos Book 2 on my TBR. I know that's what you would have chosen if you had the option. So we are on a mission to continue series. So this is Emily Wilde's, you know the story, and this is Ruthless Vows, you know the story. You know all my book stories, so choose between these two. Emily Wilde's. Yay! Okay, you knew that I was in the mood for this. Okay, so the last book on my TBR is going to be Emily Wilde's Map of the Other Worlds, Other Lands. Wow, this is an amazing TBR. And I'm back. I was running very late for a coffee date with a friend, so I am back. So if I look a little bit frizzy and poofy, it's because I had to go out in the rainy weather. I'm quickly gonna wrap up this video. We have chosen our May TBR and I must say it is looking pretty good. We have a very, very balanced May TBR and I think my chances are good for getting through all of them. Let's quickly look at all the choices we made. For the high fantasy prompt, we have chosen to continue this series, the Songs of Chaos, so I need to get a hold of the second book. For the prompt where Magnus chooses a book, we have Emily Wilde's Map of the Other Lands. For the prompt where we choose a book from the 2010s, we have The Kiss of Deception by Marie E. Pearson. I don't know if I mentioned this when I was talking about it, but this book was published in 2014. And that's why I chose it. Just making sure I mentioned that. Then for the modern classic prompt, we have 1984 by George Orwell. For the romance prompt, we have Sounds Like Love by Ashley Poston. And then for the prompt where I had to pick one of my most recently added books, we have Killer Instinct by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. So yes, I think we have such a solid and honestly very me TBR for May. So I'm really excited. I must say this is making me very positive for my May reading goals. Thank you if you watched until the end of this video. I appreciate each and every one of you so much. Remember that you are precious to our Creator and that Jesus loves you. And until my next video, bye!